My name is Linda. I am 32 years old, and I live in a small, beautiful house with my husband, Brian. He is 33. We have been married for 8 years. Our home has a big garden full of flowers that Brian planted himself. Every morning, I open the window and feel the sunlight touch my face. Life feels simple and peaceful, just the way I always dreamed it would be. I work part-time at a small library in town. I love books, the quiet smell of paper, and the soft sound of pages turning. Brian works for a large company in the city. His job often requires him to travel, sometimes for a few days, sometimes for a week. I miss him when he is away, but I never worry. He always comes home with a smile and a small gift, sometimes a keychain, sometimes a book, sometimes just a flower he picked from a garden. In the evenings, we sit on the porch, drink tea, and talk about our day. I feel safe with him. I feel loved. To me, Brian is the kindest man I have ever known. I trust him completely. I thought our love was perfect, that nothing could ever break it. But I was wrong. Brian and I met for the first time in the library where I still work today. I remember that day clearly. He came in looking for a book about architecture, but he couldn't find it on the shelf. I offered to help him, and when I handed him the book, our hands touched for a second. He smiled, and I felt something warm inside me. From that simple moment, everything began. We started meeting more often. He would stop by the library after work, sometimes pretending to look for a book just to see me. We talked about life, dreams, and small things that made us laugh. 3 years later, he asked me to marry him under the old oak tree behind the library. I said yes without hesitation. Our marriage was calm and full of gentle joy. We didn't have children, but I never felt that something was missing. We had each other, and that felt enough. Brian was attentive and kind. Every morning, he kissed my forehead before leaving for work. Every night, we had dinner together, sharing stories about our day. I believed we would grow old together, surrounded by the roses he planted in our garden, never knowing that our peaceful life was built on a secret I had yet to discover. It was a Friday night. The house was quiet, and the rain was falling softly outside. Brian had just come home from work. He looked tired, so after dinner, we went to bed early. I was reading a book while he fell asleep beside me. His breathing was calm, steady. Everything felt normal, safe, familiar. Then suddenly, his phone began to ring. It was almost midnight. I reached for it, worried it might be an emergency from his office. The number on the screen was unknown. I hesitated for a second, then answered softly, "Hello?" There was silence at first, then a trembling woman's voice said, "Brian? Is that you? Please, our son is very sick. We need to go to the hospital. He has a fever and he won't wake up." My heart stopped. "I'm sorry," I said quietly. "This is his wife, Linda." "Who is this?" The woman gasped. Her voice broke as she said, "His wife?" "No, I'm his wife. My name is Adeline. Please, I need Brian. Our son, Davis, is very ill. The phone nearly slipped from my hand. I could barely breathe. Her words echoed in my head, our son. We didn't have any children. I stared at Brian sleeping peacefully next to me, and my world began to crack open. I whispered, this must be a mistake, but deep down, I already knew it wasn't. I shook him awake. Brian, wake up. Your phone rang. A woman called. She said her son, Davis, is sick. She called you her husband. His eyes opened wide. For a moment, he said nothing. Then, his face turned pale. Linda, please, he started, his voice trembling, I can explain. Explain what? I shouted, my voice shaking. Explain that you have another wife? A son? How long has this been going on? He looked down, unable to meet my eyes. It's true, he said finally. Adeline is someone I knew before you. We were together for a short time. She had my child. I didn't know how to tell you. I never wanted to hurt you. I felt like I was falling into darkness. You lied to me every single day, I cried. You made me believe in a love that wasn't real. He reached out to me, but I pulled away. The room felt cold. The man I thought I knew, the life I thought I had, all of it shattered in one moment. Brian begged for forgiveness. He cried, he apologized, he promised to fix everything, but his words felt empty to me. Every sentence sounded like another lie. I looked at him and saw not my husband, but a stranger who had worn his face for years. I wanted to scream, to ask him why, but I knew that no answer could make it right. After he left that night, the house felt colder than ever. His toothbrush was still in the bathroom, his jacket still hung by the door, but the man who once made me feel safe was gone. He sent me long messages, saying he would leave Adeline, that he loved me, that we could start over. I didn't reply. I couldn't. How could I trust someone who had built our entire life on lies? Every night I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, hearing his words in my mind. I love you. I didn't mean to hurt you. But he did. He hurt me in a way I never thought possible. I missed his laugh, his smell, the way he used to bring me tea in the morning, but now those memories felt poisoned. Days turned into weeks. I went to work, smiled at people, pretended everything was fine. But inside, I was breaking. Sometimes, I caught myself wondering if Adeline knew about me. Did she think she was his only wife, just like I did? Did she also wait for him to come home, not knowing he belonged somewhere else too? One evening, I stood by the window watching the sunset. The golden light filled the room, touching the walls, the bed, the photos on the shelf, photos of a life that was never real. I whispered to myself, he had two lives. One with me, one with her. And I didn't even know which one was real. The next morning, I woke up to silence. For the first time, I didn't feel pain. I felt empty, but also strangely calm. I walked through the house one last time. Then, I picked up my phone and typed a message. "Don't come back, Brian. It's over." When I pressed send, tears filled my eyes, but I knew it was the right thing to do. That moment was both an ending and a beginning, the most painful freedom I had ever known. Months passed. At first, the silence felt unbearable. Every sound in the house reminded me of him: the creak of the floor, the ticking of the clock, the empty space beside me in bed. But slowly, I began to rebuild my life piece by piece. I moved into a small apartment on the edge of town. It wasn't much, but it was mine. For the first time in years, I felt a strange kind of peace. I found a new job at a hospital, working long hours that kept my mind busy. The people there were kind, and the work reminded me that I could still be useful, that life didn't end just because love did. I learned to cook for one, to laugh again, to look at myself in the mirror without seeing only the pain. 6 months later, I received an envelope in the mail. It was from a lawyer. My hands trembled as I opened it. It was the divorce papers. I signed my name at the bottom and closed my eyes. For a moment, I just sat there, breathing deeply. It was done. I was free. The weight I had been carrying for so long finally began to lift. One cold winter afternoon, as I was walking home from work, I saw him across the street. Brian. He looked older, tired, but softer somehow. He was holding the hand of a small boy with bright blue eyes, the same eyes I used to look into every day. It had to be Davis. We stood there for a few seconds, two people who once shared everything, now strangers connected only by memory. He gave me a sad smile, filled with regret. I nodded, smiled faintly in return, and then turned away. I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel pain. I just felt peace. Some wounds don't heal by going back. They heal when you finally let go. I once believed that love was enough. That if two people cared for each other deeply, they could overcome anything. But I was wrong. Love without honesty is only an illusion. It feels warm for a while, but it cannot last. Trust is what keeps love alive, and once it breaks, it leaves a silence that love alone cannot fill. When Brian's secret came to light, I thought my life had ended. I thought I would never laugh again, never find peace again. But life has a strange way of teaching us what we truly need to learn. In losing him, I found myself. I learned that pain does not destroy us, it reveals who we really are. Now, when I look back, I no longer see betrayal. I see transformation. I see a woman who was broken but refused to stay that way. Sometimes the hardest goodbyes are not about letting go of another person, but about choosing to walk forward without fear. True love is not about holding on tightly. It is about knowing when to release something that no longer gives you peace. Forgiveness is not for the one who hurt you, it is for yourself, so you can live again, breathe again, and finally be free. If you enjoyed this story and want to learn English through real and emotional life lessons, please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more inspiring English stories.